9.5 FM, the Ashanti Regional SRC, and the Regional Directorate of Ghana Education Service Ashanti and Chad. The biggest debate competition in Ghana is back. Which side do you represent? For or against the motion? Stay glued to your superstation Love 99.5 FM, Joy Learning, and Joy Prime as we bring to you the biggest stage where schools in Ashanti show their prowess through debate. Rally behind your alma mater to glory as gallant young men and women from the various senior high schools in Ashanti elucidate the gallant young men and women from the various senior high schools in Ashanti elucidate the
nothing but the best. Not a good performance, but the best today. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to go to the student also here from Osei Adutwum. I have this beautiful lady here. Eugenia, give us your full name and what we should also expect.
Hello, I'm Eugenia Kodia Hansen. I'm from Osei Adutwum Senior High School. You should expect nothing but the best for my school, and we are obviously taking the trophy. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see if their patrons are going to depart from what these supporters have said. Madam, good afternoon. You are live on Joy Prime, Joy Learning, and also Love 99.5 FM. Let's hear your words too.
Thank you very much. Usaz, this is our first entry, but we promise to give you nothing but excellence, just as our slogan echoes. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, back to the Abraham Paul. What would you want to add?
Okay, I'm Faustina from Osei Tutu Senior High School, and my boys are prepared. They are poised for the debates, so they will give you excellent job. We don't want to speak much. We will just show working. Thank you.
Okay, let's see whether they will really show working, but do remember that the Love FM High Schools debate, we are giving the young ones the voice, of course, when it comes to issues of national interest. David, over to you. I'm done at the foyer.
Well, thank you very much, Patricia Amabonzu. And if you're excited to be with us this afternoon here in this beautiful auditorium at the Christian Service University, a round of applause for yourselves. And make some noise. Thank you. Thank you. So like Patricia said, today is day 3 in the 2025 edition of the Love FM High School debate. Today we get to hear contest 5 and contest 6, and the schools are ready to battle. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Christian Service University. We're live on television on Joy Prime and Joy Learning. We're live on radio on Love 99.5. We're also live on Facebook on Love 99.5. Like Patricia said, we're doing this in collaboration with the Ashanti Regional GES, the Ashanti Regional SRC, CHAS, and of course our host, the Christian Service University. If you're excited to be here, one more time, a round of applause for yourselves and to all our partners. Indeed, this is the biggest debate platform in Ghana, and this afternoon, trust me, you're going to be wowed. Now, we're doing this in collaboration with our sponsors. Let me run through a few of them for you. We have Yas Toothpaste. Now, they offer a complete oral health solution with 3 variants: the Yas Total Care, the Yas Whitening, and the Yas Herbal. It's formulated to protect against cavities, tooth decay, plaque, and bad breath, while also promoting a brighter smile, healthy gums, and stronger teeth. For maximum protection, use Yas Toothpaste with Yas toothbrushes, which of course are available nationwide. Yas, caring brand for a caring family. Let me also ask you to put your hands together for the Jackson University College. They also a proud sponsor. A round of applause for the Jackson University College. Now, the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership is available. We have nicknamed it JAIL. Now, in partnership with the British Council, the IELTS and of course the IDP offers IELTS tuition in Ghana for those aiming to work or study abroad. They provide in-person and online classes. JAIL also has a study in Quebec, Canada, program for English fluent or French learning children aged between 5 to 15. They assist with documentation and offer flexible rates. Find them at number 4 Jackson Street at Ayudiase near KNUST. You can send them an email to len@jail.edu.gh and visit www.jail.edu also.gh. Now, how many of you love Gary? I mean Gary Soakins for that matter. Oh, raise your hands. Yeah, you all love Gary. I love Gary too. Now, a new Gary brand is on the market. It's called the H&H 4-in-1 Gary Mix. So if you're looking for a quick, tasty, and satisfying snack, H&H 4-in-1 Gary Mix is your perfect answer. This popular choice features crispy Gary, cream, roasted groundnuts, and sugar. Just add water, preferably Verna mineral water, and stir. And then you have something special. H&H has added something new to their brands. They have the H&H Choco Malt Gary Soakings and the H&H Soya Gary Soakings to the family. They've added that to the family. So grab these affordable H&H Gary Mix products in shops nationwide. H&H 4-in-1 Gary Mix, the perfect mix of crunch, flavor, and fun. Let me tell you about EcoBank Ghana. Now, many Ghanaians are unaware of essential emergency numbers, including those for financial crisis. However, EcoBank has introduced a new money emergency number, that is the *770#. Now, this service provides instant access to crucial financial services like loans, fund transfers, utility payments, airtime, and data purchases. Even without an internet connection, dial *770# today and get immediate financial assistance. EcoBank, they are the Pan-African Bank. Let me tell you about Bonvas Tours. Now, Bonvas Tours is your reliable partner for travel, work, or study abroad aspirations. They provide extensive services like, visa assistance, hotel and flight bookings, guided tours, corporate travel, and school excursions. With over 10 years experience, they make travel documentation and consultation stress-free. Bonvas also has paid internships in Japan for IT students and hospitality jobs in the US, Spain, and France. You can find them near Victory Baptist Church at Aija. Bonvas Tours, the joy of tourism. And of course, our hosts, the Christian Service University, they are admitting students for the 2025-2026 academic year. Undergraduate and master's programs are offered at CSU with morning, evening, and weekend schedules. CSU provides half scholarship to prospective students with an aggregate of 6 to 15. You can find CSU at Star Junction, Santasi. Visit csu.edu.gh for admissions and other enquiries. CSU, faith, scholarship, and integrity. Now, to my right is Patricia, and to my left is Becca. They're not here as my bodyguards. They're here to share some more information with you. Becca, how are you this afternoon?
Very well, David.
Patricia, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
So what do you have in your hand?
Well, I have Top Choco right here from Alpha Industries. You know Top Choco when it comes to the best spread that you want for your bread, your both roads, like we all call it. You need to definitely reach out for Top Choco because it has all the goodness of the Ghanaian cocoa. So please reach out for one today in any supermarket nationwide, David. And I also like to say thank you to Family Products from Grady Enterprise. Now, if you prioritize your family's health and enjoy delicious meals, Family Products are a great choice. Discover Family Mackerel in tomato sauce, Family Sardines in vegetable oil, and Family Tomato Mix. All Family Products are rich in nutrients and prepared with your family's well-being in mind. For bulk purchase, reach out to Grady Enterprise, neighborhood shops, and every market in Ghana.
We'd also like to say a very big thank you to Amanano Rural Bank PLC Limited, which offers commercial, salary, auto, personal, group, SME, agric, and Nkoswo microfinance loans. They also operate different accounts and Enidaso Susu savings. Receive your local and international money transfers from us today. We are headquartered at Nyenehini, opposite the lorry station. From us to at Mrom, Esreso, Ebuakwata for BBNE and Asafo Market near the VVIP bus terminal. Amanano Rural Bank, service beyond expectation.
We'd like to say thank you also to Royal Mental Arithmetic System, that's the Royal Maths. It is a unique abacus program that applies mental arithmetic to everyday life, building a strong foundation for critical thinking and STEM education. Now, through playing, learning, and applying concepts, Royal Maths offers a whole brain development program designed to help children overcome the math fear or anxiety, boost their confidence, and also foster their inner genius. We say Royal Maths, unique education. Every child is a champion, and we conquer the world.
And also for high quality, customized, elegant, and affordable wedding, engagement, or promise rings, visit St. Ben Jewelry. We design white, yellow, rose gold, and silver rings, earrings, bracelets, watches, and accessories as well. We offer special flexible payment terms for couples. You can locate us at Amakom opposite Edward Nassar and Adum Chelsea House opposite Standard Chartered Bank. St. Ben Jewelry, just dream it and it will be done.
We'd like to also say thank you again to New Generation Investment Services Limited, offering us managed investment, assisting with our pension planning, and managing our Tier 2 and Tier 3 pensions. Now we have the Nidaso Mutual Fund, NGIS Money Market Fund, and private funds. Now talk to, I must say, our seasoned workers today, and of course we'll share with you everything that you need to know when it comes to your investment goals and aspiration. Remember that NGIS is licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Locate them in Kumasi on the first floor of Cocoa House, Adutwum, or visit www.ngis-group.com. NGIS, achieving excellent results on your investments.
We also say a big thank you to Dunamis Plus, which provides quality, affordable, and fire-resistant interior and exterior security, bulletproof PVC interior and waterproof doors for homes, offices, schools, and institutions. Our wooden doors come with frames, panels, and accessories. Find us at Ahojo Atinga Junction off the Lameta Road, Tanoso opposite the Catholic Church, and Boho close to the Cars Quarry Factory. Dunamis Plus, we give you real value for your money.
And before we go, yesterday David made a deal with us. He says he'll wear the lashes during the grand finale of this particular edition of the Love FM High Schools debate. But then please, if you're a gentleman and you need a little small touch-up for your photo shoot, make your way to Esilali, and they are also the official makeup artist for the Love FM High Schools debate. You can sign up for our 2 weeks or 3 month intensive program and become a professional. Book us today and look beautiful for all your occasions. We also sell ladies' wear, quality designer shoes, bags, accessories, perfumes, body splashes, and more. Also enjoy our signature vegetable, chicken, potato, and pasta salad prepared fresh daily at Salado G8. Dial 024-799-0760 right now for every event order. Esilali Empire, we say your world of beauty and more. But you can also find them in Kumasi. They are next to Wache Kumasi at Amekom traffic light. David.
Ladies, thank you very much. And a round of applause for the two of them, Becca and Patricia. Osas. Charlie, give me some energy, please. Osas. 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 Abrimpong. 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 These are the two schools I'll be doing battle this afternoon. Osei Tutu Senior High School, Osei Adutwum Senior High School. Term it as the Battle of the Oseis. Now they're here this afternoon, and in a short while we'll be introducing to you their debaters who will be mounting the podium, be grabbing the microphone, and we'll be doing justice to the motion. And the motion is women should pay less tax than men. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like at this point in time to introduce to you a panel of judges. We have with us this afternoon Madame Amma Benewa Anan. She's a passionate educationist and an experienced HR professional. She's right here this afternoon. Please show her some love. Put your hands together for her for me. And that's Amma there. Also with us this afternoon is Professor Anthony Kofi Osei. He loves to be called OFAG. Say OFAG. OFAG. All right, he is here as well. He's an associate professor at the Department of Economics at KNUST. He has taught for over 30 years, and he's here as one of our judges. A round of applause for him as well. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce our third judge. Now, he's seated in the middle, and he is our lead judge. His name is Dr. Peter Atta. Now, he's our lead judge, and of course, he is the former head of the English department and former head of the Language and Communication Services department at KNUST. He delves into, textuality. I love to call him the imprisoned man, and he'll be telling you why in a bit. But before I welcome him to the podium, please take note of a few things. As you watch us on television, as you watch us on Facebook, and of course on YouTube, and listen to us on radio, this is your show. So when the students or the debaters are, debating and they are wowing you and you're excited about it, drop comments on our Facebook page. We shall reach out to those comments and read them out. One other thing I would like for you to know is this. When we are scoring, we use what we call the unanimous decision or the majority decision. You want to know more about it? Don't worry. Our lead judge is going to tell us about the rules of engagement. He will tell you how they score and will also touch on what we mean by the unanimous or the majority decision. Please, with a round of applause, welcome Dr. Peter Atta.
Thank you, Dave. And Madam Chair, I think I have your permission to go straight to business. Yes, I'm presenting the scores and the rules of engagement. Listen to me attentively. We have 5 parameters. We have organization and clarity, 30 marks. And the first speaker is taking 15, the second is taking 10, and then the summary is taking 5. And what we mean by organization and clarity has got to do with the way you introduce, the way you keep on developing, and the way you conclude. Then we have arguments and development. That's also 30 marks. And then here we are expecting good arguments, both external and internal structures. And if you're talking of internal, we expect you to raise a point. Please, a researched point, not just any point. You defend it by explaining and supporting it. The first speaker is taking 15 marks for that. The second speaker is taking 10 marks for that. And then the summary is 5 marks for that. Effective use of rebuttal, and I always call this the grounds for the heroes. Yes, this is where the battle is really taking place, because you are listening to your opponents, and then if there is any fault with the reasoning, you capitalize on that, and then make sure that you explain to people why your opponent is doing wrong reasoning. And there, the first speaker for the 4, when he comes, hasn't got anybody to debate yet. But he can do what we call preemptive rebuttals. So any point that you raise against the opponent, 1 mark for that. And then we have 5 marks for the first speaker, and then 10 marks for the second speaker, and then 5 marks for the summary. And for presentation style, it's just how you engage with your audience and your body language and how you use the flow and so on and so forth. The first speaker has 5 marks and the second speaker has 3 marks, and then the summary is 2. And for the role as a particular debater, the first speaker is powerful. He's all in all. That is why he's the first speaker. And the second speaker is only supporting. So the first speaker is taking 5 marks, and then the second speaker is taking 3 marks. And for the summary, we have 2 marks for that. Now let's move to rules of engagement. The principal speaker on the affirmative team presents argument in support of the motion. That gives you 10 minutes. The principal speaker on the opposing team presents argument opposing the resolution. You have 10 minutes for that. The second speaker on the affirmative team presents further argument in support of the resolution, identifies areas of conflict, and answers questions that may have been raised by opposition speaker. 7 minutes for that. And then the second speaker on the opposing team presents further arguments against resolution, identifies areas of conflict, and answers questions that may have been raised by the previous affirmative speaker. That is also 7 minutes for that. And then the principal speaker on the affirmative team comes with closing statements to their arguments without adding any further information, and also uses the opportunity to respond to rebuttals if there is any. That gives you 5 minutes for that. The principal speaker on the opposing team comes with closing statements to their arguments without adding any new information, and also uses the opportunity to respond to the rebuttal if necessary. Now note, the speaker must be very audible in the presentation, and by that, you will have to take the microphone close to your mouth. There cannot be any interruption. Speakers must wait for their turn. And the principal speaker must raise only 5 points or less. And then the supporting speaker must raise only 3 points or less. Now let's have some other external rules. And when I say he who asserts, you say must prove, all right? And you give me a thunderous voice there. He who asserts, I like that. And in order to establish an assertion, the team must support it with enough facts and evidence. Facts and evidence must be accurate. Examples of visual materials are permissible, And once introduced, they become available for the opponent's use if so desired. Tangible evidence must be tendered as exhibits for fact support. And then in rebuttals, the debater rebutting may ask any constructive and clear question that has a direct bearing on the point raised. The one rebutting must confine him or herself to questions and not to make statements, comments, or ask rhetorical questions. Supporters from both sides are to exercise discipline, not to induce, frustrate, or intimidate an opposing speaker. Failure would attract deduction of marks from your score. Debaters must respect time. If you are bailed out, you must end your presentation, else you lose some marks. And then in case of a tie, the two schools involved will be given a motion to debate within 2 days, that is 48 hours. Now, all issues must be addressed to the producer. And at the 116 stage, motions will be given to schools 2 clear days before the contest. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So let me just add something little to what Dr. Peter Arthur has said. I mentioned earlier that we have what we call the unanimous decision and, of course, the majority decision to declare a winner. So I introduce to you 3 judges. When all 3 judges score for a particular school, that is what we refer to as the unanimous decision. But if 2 out of the 3 score for a particular school, then that becomes a majority. No matter what the score is, that becomes a majority decision. So please have that at the back of your mind. I would like to at this point in time introduce to you the ambassador and of course the chairperson for this afternoon's debate in the person of Mrs. Theodosia Jackson. She's here with us. A round of applause for her as well. Thank you very much. And whilst our lead judge was addressing you, he made mention of the fact that you ought to respect time. Now, I often say this, that when you mount both your master debate and you're speaking, you'll not be able to be watching your time at the same time. So what we do for you is we have the accurate timekeeper. When you're halfway through your debate presentation, this is what you will hear. And when your time is up entirely, he will do this for you. So the debaters, please be guided. Abrimpong. 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 Please stand. And I'm asking you to stand because I want you to sing your school anthem. For those of you who have been part of this debate before, maybe last year or last 2 years, if you were in year 1, you know how to sing your anthem. You need to sing your anthem with pride and joy, with all the energy you can master. But this time around, we're going to help you because Uncle Collins has your anthem available. He's going to help you sing your anthem. So wait for him to start, and then you sing along. But are you ready to sing? Are you sure you're ready to sing? Okay, so on 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. That was the anthem of Osei Tutu Senior High School. And they respond, when I say I bring pon, they respond by? Okay, so with a round of applause and some noise making, welcome your debaters. Principal speaker is Isaac Kweku Yeboah, and supporting speaker is Frederick Opong. And there they are. Why don't you make some noise as well as you welcome them? Thank you very much. Okay. Osas. 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 And those are students of Osei Adutwum Senior High School. Please stand. You saw and you heard what your opponents did from Osei Tutu Senior High School. You're going to be doing the same, but this time you'll be singing for us your school anthem. Are you ready? Yes. No, I'm not feeling the energy. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Collins, are you ready? Oh, okay, he says, no, he doesn't have your anthem yet, does he? He doesn't have it. So what you'll be doing for us is this. You'll be singing off the cuffs without any support. I'm sure you can do that, can't you? So on 3, sing with pride and sing with joy and sing with all the energy you can master. So on 3, 1, 2, go. Well, thank you very much. And a round of applause for yourselves. You sang beautifully. And whilst you put your hands together for yourselves, let's welcome your debaters. Jacqueline Ajubi Owusu is the principal speaker. Aban Say Nana Kwame is the supporting speaker. And there they come, descending the stairs to mount the podium, grab their seats, and start to debate on behalf of their school. The motion is women should pay less tax than men. OT, that is Osei Tutu Senior High School, they are for the motion. Osei Adutwum Senior High School is against the motion. Women should pay less tax than men is the motion. Madam Chairperson, with your permission, can they start the debate? She says they can. Accurate timekeeper, are you ready? He says he is. Panel of judges, are you ready? They are nodding in affirmation that they are. Debaters, are you ready? I can see smiles on their faces, and they are saying yes, they are. Audience, are you ready? So for the last time, show them some love as we welcome to the microphone the principal speaker for OT, Isaac Kweku Yeboah, to start the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, picture a classroom where every student receives the same textbook, uses the same hours, and sits for the same exams. On the surface, it seems fair, but look closely. One student arrives hungry, the other study by a candlelight, another walk miles to school each morning. Giving every student the same tool is not justice. This is not fair. Ladies and gentlemen, equity asks a deeper question. What does every student need to succeed? Until this question is answered, fairness still remains a shadow. Panel of judges, let us step outside the classroom to the real world. When men and women pay the same taxes, the country benefits, but the house, this is the daily reality faced by millions of women. The house, they wake up before sunrise to cater for their families by cooking, cleaning, and many others. After this, they step into offices and marketplaces for their full-time job. Despite their double work, they only receive half the payment and still pay the same taxes as men. To you, the ever-wise chair, eyes of the judgment, man of the clock, my opponents, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Standing in this chamber of ideas, I am Isaac Kweku Yeboah, representing Osei Tutu Senior High School, Serving as the principal speaker for the motion on board, quote and unquote, women should pay less income tax than men. Before we delve deeper, I would like to paint a clear picture of the motion. When and as needed, accurate evidence shall be presented to back our claims. Ladies and gentlemen, women are female adults in our society. Pay less is contributing small. The house income tax is a tax that is charged on earnings and salaries. Showed is a word that expresses obligation. All in all, this motion seeks to deposit that since women and men do not have the same opportunity, then it is unfair for them to pay the same tax. I will explain to you why. But before then, it is imperative for you to note that we, the affirmative team, are not here to argue against men. We are here to correct a system that ignores the extra weight carried by women. My duty then as the principal speaker is to justify why women should pay less income tax than men. Point 1, we argue that women should pay less income tax than men because there is a gender pay gap and imbalanced working opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, in Ghana and across the world, women are paid less than men for doing the same job, and this is what we term as gender pay gap. In 2022, the Ghana Statistical Service reported that men earn 34% more than women for doing the same job in the formal sector. Ladies and gentlemen, in simple terms, if a man earns 100 Ghana cedis, a woman doing this same job earns only 66 Ghana cedis. Notwithstanding, many women are also found in low-paying jobs like domestic works and market vending. The house. These jobs are very crucial to the society, but they are often underpaid and ignored. Meanwhile, men occupy high-paying jobs and leadership roles. If we want a fair and a just system, we must first admit this gap and fix it. One way to do that is by adjusting the tax system. Hence, women who are already paid less should not get taxed the same as men. The house. A school of thought may argue that there are so many ways of addressing this gender pay gap. But house, adjusting the tax system is one of the immediate and measurable ways to ease the burden on women while we still address the root causes of these inequalities. Point 2, we argue that women should pay less income tax than men because they perform unpaid labor that the economy ignores. Ladies and gentlemen, while men rest after work, women go home to cook, clean, wash, and many others. The house, these jobs are very crucial to the society, but they are invisible to the tax system. Recently, it was publicly acknowledged when the United Nations reports indicated that the cost of unpaid job amounts to $10 trillion annually. Yes, a school of thought may argue that men are also performing these unpaid jobs. But the house, let us consider a different article published by this same United Nations that stated that women spend 15.5% of their time on these unpaid jobs as compared to the 4.6% spent by men. This shows clearly that most of these work are done by women. So tell me, if Auntie Becca finishes her 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. shifts and starts her 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. duties as a woman, should she pay the same tax as Uncle David, who only worked within 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.? A question for thought. So if taxation should be based on contribution, then Auntie Becca should be put first and her tax relief should reflect that. Point 3, we argue that women should pay less income tax than men because it is justice for years of structural inequalities. Ladies and gentlemen, for centuries, women have economically been marginalized, socially excluded. They were denied the access to education, ownership of property, and the right to vote. Yes, a school of thought may argue that now women are occupying leadership roles. But the house, let us watch this video.
Not forgetting, Mr. Speaker, that we have signed on to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 2030, which presupposes that we are expected, Mr. Speaker, to eliminate inequalities by 2030. At this rate, where are we going?
Ladies and gentlemen, this video emphasizes on the fact that women are still underrepresented in leadership. City Newsroom also add up to the fact that 40 out of the whooping number of 276 members of parliament are women, representing only 14.5% of the total percentage. At this rate, where are we going? So the House, is it fair for women and men to pay the same tax when women have never had the same opportunities as men? A question for thought. So the House, reducing the taxes for women is not favoritism. This is a way of addressing years of structural inequality, because true justice recognizes past mistakes and gives room for real equality to grow. Point 4, we argue that women should pay less income tax than men because career interruptions affect their long-term earnings. Ladies and gentlemen, many women stop working for reasons like pregnancy, childbirth, and childcare. During this time, they miss on an important working opportunities like promotion and also gaining of experience. This is because after they return, they find it difficult to catch up, hence end up in lower positions. Ladies and gentlemen, a school of thought may argue that this act even slow down productivity, so women should pay more income tax. But the House, let us be real. This is more than just a break. This is 9 months of swollen feet, nausea, sleepless nights, and a battle between life and death at the delivery room. Even after childbirth, they face numerous health implications that goes beyond our imagination, all in the name of producing human resources for this very nation. And do you know their reward? Huge taxes. According to a report by the Physical Institute, study shows that women earning are reduced by 44% the moment they give birth. This is the reason why we are saying that it is very, very unfair for women to pay the same taxes as men. In conclusion, the House, a school of thought may quote Article 17, Clause 2, stating that when women pay less tax, it is against the rule of law. The House, let us not pretend that the Constitution ends there. Just some few lines below, I refer them to Clause 4 of the same article that states that the country is allowed to enact laws that address social and economic imbalances. So this is what we are doing. So if my opponent is to bring this argument, I would advise them to carry the whole Constitution to this podium, not just the part that favors their arguments. The lines are drawn, my assertions are clear. Thank you.
Imagine a world where your tax bill isn't determined by how much you earn, but by who you are. A world where just because you are born female, you pay little to the government than your male counterpart, even though you might be working harder, contributing fairly, or earning more. Sounds unfair, it is. Today, we are being asked to endorse the notion that women should have lower income tax burden compared to men. On the surface, it may seem as an act of kindness or even justice, but let's dig deeper. This is not generosity. It is a flawed notion that opens door to inequality disguised as fairness. The world has spent centuries fighting for gender equality. So why are we now proposing to put women on pedestal, not by empowering them, but by treating them as if they need financial help, simply because they are women? The chair panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, fellow students, all protocols duly observed. Good day. Representing the land of the elite, Osei Adutwum Senior High School, Aya, Owusu Ejibi Joyce, the principal speaker, steadily and vigorously opposing the motion before the House, quote and unquote, women should pay less income tax than men. The chair, to set a stage for meaningful engagement, let me take a moment to unpack the key concepts in the motion to ensure a common understanding. The chair, income tax, according to Investopedia, is defined as the tax government imposed on income within their jurisdiction. The chair, Merriam-Webster Dictionary, define less as a smaller portion or quantity. To proceed with our arguments, our premier point in opposition to the motion is equality before the law must be preserved. This motion violates a core democratic principle, equality before the law. Creating different tax systems based on gender does not only open door to inequality, but also undermines the very foundation of our legal system. Now, if we start taxing women less than men who earn the same income, that is not women empowerment, that is state-sponsored discrimination. The 1992 Constitution of Ghana, Article 17:1 clearly states, quotes and unquotes, all persons shall be equal before the law. And Article 17:2 also forbids any form of discrimination based on gender. If we start taxing women less, it opens the floodgates. Open the floodgates in abundance. What next? Lower taxes for different religions or special rates for ethnic groups. The chair, justice must be blind, not biased. Equality before the law is the backbone of every democracy. If we lose that, we lose unity, fairness, and legal integrity. The chair, let us empower women the right way through education and equal access, not by taxing them less. The chair, my opponents came here and talked about equality. They said treating men and women equally ignores the real world disadvantages women face. So, adjusting the law to the level of the playing field, not by pretending everybody starts from the same place. But that argument is flawed. Affirmative action should happen on opportunity, not obligation. Give women better access to jobs, education, and capital, not by breaking our legal system. We support gender justice, but not by introducing gender injustice in our tax system. Moving on to my second point, the chair, gender-based taxation is impractical and legally complex. Gender-based taxation is a legal puzzle and a logistical nightmare. Let's talk practicality. Ghana's tax system under the Income Tax Act 2015 Act 886 treats all citizens based on one thing, that is how much you earn. That is why a female nurse at Kolobu and a male nurse at the same hospital earns the same income, pays the same rate. So now, if we start taxing women less, it means the Ghana Revenue Authority will have to build a whole new taxation model for women, rewriting payroll system and tax software. That is no progression. That is chaotic. And what does the law say about this? The 1992 Constitution of Ghana, Article 17, also forbids any form of discrimination based on gender. So with this, if this policy is introduced, it will not, it shall not, and it must not survive a single legal challenge, not in Supreme Court, not in Parliament, and not on our streets. The chair, let's go beyond that. What about edge cases? People with unclear gender markers, how should we classify them for tax purposes? Gender-based taxation is too unconstitutional to keep and too complex to write. If fairness is the goal, then confusion is not the path. Let's tackle the root causes, not by confusing outcome with origin. Moving on to my third point, the chair. Tax disparities reflect deeper issues, not the tax system. We shouldn't confuse outcome with origin. The fact that many women in our society pay less income tax doesn't mean the tax system is unfair. No, never. It means these women earn less due to long-standing social and economic problems, which includes gender paying gap, limited access to economic opportunities. So with this, none of them were created by the Ghana Revenue Authority. The Ghana Revenue Authority tax people based on what they earn. The system is neutral. If you want true progress, let's tackle the root problem by 1, enforcing labor equity, 2, investing in women education and entrepreneurship, and 3, and the last one, the chair, we should do more for women. Moving on to my fourth point, the chair, economic impact. But the chair, before I move, I would like to give few examples. Should we let the acting CEO of National Petroleum, Madam Victoria M. Fahad Kassel, and the CEO of Environmental Protection Agency, Professor Nanama Kloche, pay less income tax than the pantrymen in Osei Tutu Senior High School? I leave it to your justice. Deal with it well. Moving on to my fourth point, the chair, economic impact. Lowering taxes for women may be or seem as a quick fix, but it risks serious economic consequences. 1, it reduces government's revenue, thereby cutting funding for essential services like education and healthcare. And when these services are cut, these are the same services that are needed in addressing gender inequality effectively. Most importantly, it also breaks the principle of fairness and complicates our tax system. It also harms workplace morale, with men feeling unfairly burdened or women being seen as receiving unearned benefits. Instead of us dividing taxpayers, we should focus on targeted policies that drive real economic progress. That's why my opponents may come here and argue that if we start taxing women less, one, it will increase their disposable income, which in turn will stimulate our economy. But I tell them that argument is flawed. They should take a chill pill for me to school them a bit. When taxes are being lowered for women, one, it reduces government revenue. And when this revenue is being decreased, it will in turn lead to cutting funding or essential services like healthcare and education. And when this is cut, it slows down for progress for everybody, including men and women. So we, as the nation builders, we look for permanent solutions and not temporary solutions that make only our smiles short-lived. Moving on to my fifth and final point, the chair. We will talk about reinforcing stereotypes. This policy might aim at helping women, but rather it reinforces outdated stereotypes. And these stereotypes treat women as if without tax break, they can't survive, which implies weakness, not equality. True empowerment stems from equal opportunity and giving people what they deserve, not by breaking the tax system to take our lovely women to tax our lovely women less. The chair, Maya Angelou, warned, quote and unquote, prejudice is a burden that confuses the past, threatens the future, and renders the present inaccessible. This policy doesn't break us from stereotypes. Rather, it chains us back to the very stereotype as a country we claim to fight. Abraham, the facts have spoken, and they are definite. To still call for the House to propose the motion is not conviction, it's denial in suit. So please, do well to do your research, not by coming to feed my lovely audience with this fallacy. The chair kindly permits me to clear the air on some assertions made by my opponents. The chair, they talked about that women are less or underrepresented in opportunities. But I tell them, this has made our job so easy and clear. There is no need in taxing them less. This is a clear indication that we should rather give them more opportunities so they will invest in our economy, not by taxing them less to make them less dependent. This will make them less dependent. And when this makes them dependent, it puts them in shackles and fear. It doesn't bring out the best in them. So please, next time, do your research, do your facts before mounting the podium, not by deceiving my lovely audience with your inappropriate, research. The chair, muchas gracias.
Panel members, today, we, the proposers of this motion, acknowledge the fact that implementing this policy, that is, women should pay less income tax, may discriminate against men or may discourage men from working. But on a deeper note, implementing this policy would bring about good changes to society. It will reduce the financial burdens on women, especially single mothers or low-income earners. It will at the same time help women to be independent, encourage more of them to join or stay in the workforce, and this will, in the long run, close the gap between men and women when it comes to work and opportunities. Therefore, the ever-wise chairperson, the honorable arbiters of judgments, man of our minutes, the House. Today, Osei Tutu Senior High School is being represented by Frederick Opomfosu, the supporting speaker, speaking in total affirmation of the motion on board, and I quote, women should pay less income tax than men. I unquote. Now, panel, before I delve deep into my argument, allow me to read this article from the Net Rights Ghana, that is the Network for Women's Rights in Ghana. Their analysis reveals that Ghana's tax structure, while seemingly neutral, often disproportionately burdens women due to their lower income levels, informal sector participation, and a greater caregiving responsibilities. My duty then as the supporting speaker is to give the impactful benefits of women paying less tax. With all this said, clearly and well established, I move to present my argument as to point 5. I argue that when women pay less income tax, it encourages female workforce participation and retention. Now the House, when women are taxed less, more of them will be encouraged to join the workforce. The chair in the House. When women pay less, Jesus. When panel members, the House. Many women stay home just with the intention that working doesn't bring in enough money for paying taxes and family costs. But when the government reduce taxes on women, more of them will be encouraged to look for jobs or start small businesses. Panel members, this does not only help women to be independent, but also encourage young females to take up greater working opportunities and career. A school of thought may argue that when this happens, it would discourage men from working. But the House, we can all attest to the fact that men have dominated the corporate world. Men sit atop fortune. They occupy greater political powers. That is why, since independence, that is almost 68 years of now, we have had only one female being the vice president of Ghana. This cuts across all African countries and even the world at large. So if they fear that a slight tax adjustment on the side of women would scare men away from work, then I boldly say that our masculinity is more fragile than we thought. With this, we proceed to point 6. We argue that when women pay less tax, it is a sign of greater economic improvement and women empowerment. Now, day in, day out, women make it a point to maintain good home environment and stable society. With this in mind, they work their hearts out to achieve them. Now, according to the United Nations, that's the UN, about 90% of women are likely to reinvest their fortune into their country and basically its economy. Now, the House. Historically, women have been excluded from certain economic centers like the corporate business roles and many others. So when the government deliberately reduced taxes for women, it serves as a source of empowerment, a way of saying, we see you and we support your progress. Panel members, less taxes on women encourages entrepreneurship, especially among single mothers or low-income earners. It at the same time break one of the barriers that discourage men from stepping into financial businesses or higher-earning careers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not saying that lower taxes alone equals total empowerment. No, but rather it is a step that reflects women to a higher standards. Now, another school of thought may argue that then taxes should be based on income, not gender. But the House, we should all put it at the back of our minds that women earn less because of gender. Gender shapes income. It shapes opportunities. It shapes maternity leave and promotion chances. So to tax gender is just like taxing the reality. Now, in conclusion, I would like to say that women are the backbone of our country, the producers of human resources, the bearers of our children. So to tax women is just like taxing our dignity. The House, I rest my case. But before I take my seat, allow me to refuse some assertions made by my honorable opponents on the grounds that when women are taxed less, it will complicate the tax system. Panel, just because it takes a bit of work doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. The tax system already handles breaks for luxury goods, real estate, and niche industries. So why is it only complicated when it comes to women? Panel, this is not a reason, it is an excuse. They also argue that when women are taxed less, it is a discrimination, therefore, against the 1992 Constitution. They came here quoting Article 17, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution. Panel, the Constitution doesn't end there. Clause 4 of that same article also emphasizes that the country is allowed to implement laws that address social and economic imbalances. And that is what we are doing, because taxing men and women the same is unfair. Panel, they also argue that when women are paying less tax, it will hurt the economy. But panel, it will rather boost the economy, because when taxes are reduced for women, it encourages more of them to join the workforce. Now, this will even help grow the economy. According to the World Bank, globally, the GDP grows by 20% when women join the workforce. Panel, it is very misleading for my opponent to say that. For my opponent to say that reducing taxes for women will hurt the economy, but rather it will help grow the economy. They also argue that taxes should be based on income, not gender. Ironically, this argument supports our claim or our stance. Panel, if the taxes is truly based on income, then taxing women as same as men doesn't mean equal or it is unfair. The House. With this, I rest my case. Thank you.
Muhammad Ali Jinnah once said, and I quote, "No struggle can ever succeed without a woman participating side by side with men." According to Dorothy Dandridge, quote and unquote, "No force is more powerful than a woman determined to rise." The chair, panel of judges, our great timekeeper, distinguished guests, fellow students, co-debaters, all protocols duly observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I am in the person of Abamse Nana Kwame, a proud student of Osei Adutwum Senior High School, and the supporting speaker firmly and boldly against the motion, quote and unquote, "Women should pay less income taxes than men." The chair permits me to salute my principal speaker. Well done, Ejubi. My principal speaker has already laid a solid and strong foundation, and my job here is to roof it without any leakages. Many people support an egalitarian tax system where everyone pays according to their income, not based on their gender or background. My team visited some business centers in Kumasi, and this is what they had to say in relation to the motion on floor.
Because the income no and on better tax do do
so no say you show edwuma ne kase an ase ne kitwa na ye de etua odi tua to
kemi no say edwuma na wo ye no e na be person no de odi tua eto obi e madake na so obi ton drink na so no ye be ma wo say me madake de mi tua no sa na do ton drink tua so
it depend edwuma we ye and I say depend edwuma we ye no and a bit depend eto a e wo say
eto de nka ye hye bi a edwuma we ye ho ana ya je.
So, my dear opponent, are you trying to say this coconut seller is supposed to pay more income than a woman who owns 2 mother care? I leave that to your judgment. Answer this yourself. The chair, panel of judges, there's a clear evidence that most people support the idea where everyone pays according to their income, not based on their gender or background. How do we define women in the context of tax law? How does the system account for the changing dynamics of relationships and families? What if the woman's income changes? Moving on with my argument to support my principal speaker is economic inefficiency. The practical challenges of implementing such a system are draining and potential for confusion, discrimination, and legal challenges is also confusing. The chair, different taxes could lead to administrative challenges. For instance, adapting tax systems. For instance, adapting tax systems, that is, modifying tax system to adapt to changing new rates. Again, resources that could be used for developmental projects will be used to pay tax authority staff on new tax rates and how it should be implemented. Another potential challenge is errors in calculating tax owned as a result of incorrect assessment due to unapplied rates. Imagine the challenge of implementing different tax rates. The tax authorities would have to verify the gender of every taxpayer, which could involve intrusive questioning and documentation. The chair, this would not only be expensive, but also prone to errors and potential fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, so is this what my dear opponents are preaching? The chair again, have we thought of economic inefficiency this change can cause? Again, women paying less income tax puts unfair tax burden on men. You all agree with me that if women are to pay less income taxes, it's government-faced revenue shortfalls that must be compensated by raising taxes elsewhere, typically on men. This shifts a disproportionate huge burden on men. Men may feel penalized simply because of their gender, which risks social resentment and undermines social cohesion. There have been claims in terms of substantive equality, the personal income tax, discriminative about the single earner household. When we speak of single parenting, society's mind turn towards women, forgetting there is quite a number of men who also go through a great ordeal as single parents. According to my John Online, 10th August 2022, a story by a man, Emmanuel Zivenu, who went to his hometown in Mefi Adidome in Volta region. According to Mr. Asatu, after the year of their son, Martin Jr.'s birth, he was not responding or his muscles were weak. He could not stand or sit on his own. After taking him to the hospital, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Following the diagnosis, the Mr. Asato and his wife were worried about the health of their only child. The single parents resented that, and everything went downhill. And eventually, the woman left him and their only child. The chair panel of judges, instead of women paying less income taxes than men, let's look at other alternative approaches like skill development, that is providing women economic empowerment. Providing women economic empowerment, that is providing training and education to enhance women's skills. And for instance, Madam Esther Efua Odo, a pioneering businesswoman and advocate for women's economic participation, known for transforming small businesses into successful businesses. Another successful businesswoman I want to talk about is Grace Ame Obeng, who made a fortune by promoting products that celebrated black skin, therefore challenging the trend of skin bleaching products. The chair, my dear opponents, made mention that women earn less because of their gender. But my dear opponents, in which part of Ghana does women pay less based on their gender? That is where we call on successful businesswomen like the first female Ghanaian woman to be chief executive officer for Vodafone Ghana, now Telecel Ghana, Madam Patricia Odonai. Another alternative approach to support women is career advancement opportunities, introducing mentorship programs that is providing guidance and support, as well as sponsorship opportunities. My John Online also features stories about the importance of mentorship in empowering women's entrepreneurs, such as Snappy Aba Mentorship Program, which has empowered nearly 2,000 women. Diane Maricha was not wrong when she said, a woman is a full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. It is high time we look at women with different spectacles. We see women as financially the chair. This is my submission. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, below are the convincing points raised by we, the affirmative team. We argue that women should pay less income tax than men because there is a gender pay gap and imbalanced working opportunities. 2, women perform unpaid labor that the economy ignores. 3, it is justice for years of structural inequality. 4, career interruptions affect women long-term earnings. 5, when women pay less income tax, it encourages female workforce participation and retention. 6, when women pay less income tax, it is a sign of gender economic improvement and women empowerment. The House, my opponents argue that when women pay less income tax, it makes them weak. The House, what truly makes women weak than their less opportunity, more responsibility, and paying the same tax? Not the reduction of taxes that is going to make them weak. They also argue that we should rather push women rather than reducing their taxes. The House, I ask, how do we push men? How do we push women? By reducing their taxes so that it will encourage more of them to join the workforce. That will bridge the gap between them and men. My opponents argued that my opponents made a quote, and this is a fallacy of appeal to illegitimate authority. I asked, the person who made the quote, is he a tax analyst? The House, his competency lies outside taxes. So why should you bring someone's quote to this argument? The House, my opponents argued that equality before the law. As my supporting speaker has already rebutted that, the Constitution also allowed the government to enact laws that address social and economic imbalances. So this is very constitutional. They said taxation should be based on income and not gender. The House, ironically, they have deviated from their stance to support our claim. If truly taxation should be based on income, not gender, why do women who are already paid less should pay the same tax as men? The House, this is very, very unfair. My opponents also argued that my opponents use our school as an example. But the House, one person or a school does not represent a whole system or reality. The House, they are not making any point here. They are just pointing fingers at us, hoping that no one sees the lack of real evidence behind their claim. If truly their argument holds water, they should stop carrying it around with personal attacks. They said we should do our homework well. The House, this is a fallacy of ad hominem. Your duty today is to defend your stance and not to tell us what to do. The House, my opponents argue that some women earn more than men. The Ghana Statistical Service reported that men earn 34% more than women. So it is very misleading for my opponent to sit and overgeneralize just because few women earn more than men. The House, my opponents also argue that men will be angry and it will cause resentment. The House, men are humans. Humans care. Men know the problems facing women. So if this policy is implemented, it is not going to help only women. It is going to help the whole family. Because if a woman rise, husbands, brothers, and fathers also rise. So where lies your assertion? My opponents argue that the House, since all the points have been rebutted, I will rest my case. Thank you.
The chicken eats corn, swallows pebble, drinks water, yet complains of having no teeth. If it had teeth, would it have eaten gold? Then let's ask the cow who has teeth but still eats grass. Why are my opponents trying to give women all the privileges? What about men? There are some men who may be in worse or similar conditions. So why are we favoring women? Then, if you are favoring women, it means we should favor men. Because there are some women who are owning big shops and are financially capable. And there are some men as well who are not financially capable. So if you want a nation to build and we want true equality, we should attack it on both sides, not by padding only one gender. That is not a definition. It will never and it shall never be the definition of empowerment. That is discrimination. The chair, I have come here not to overwhelm you with words, no, but to put you with facts and to summarize the points raised by my supporting speaker and myself, and also clear the air on some assertions made by my esteemed opponent. The chair, to proceed with our points, we said 1, equality before the law must be preserved. 2, gender-based taxation is impractical and legally complex. 3, tax disparities reflect deeper issues, not the tax system. 4, economic impact. 5, reinforcing stereotype. 6, economic inefficiency. 7, women paying less tax puts unfair tax burden on men. 8, alternative approach to support women. The chair, before I go on to clear the air on some assertions, I want something to be clear to my opponents and the House. Our presentation was not based on personal attack, but with compelling facts. If you are being affected with our facts, it means you want to join us, but because of fear, you are running away. Moving on the chair, we are rebutting that my opponent said, rather, lowering taxes for women increases their income and also stimulates our economy. But I want to tell them, how does lowering taxes for women empower true empowerment? Empower women. Rather, it puts shackles on them. They run away from the battlefield with the fear of them being seen as less capable. So, my dear, this is not a point and not a background for you to base that we should tax women less because it's empowerment. This has nothing to do with empowerment. Rather, it puts shackles on women. The chair, they also said that gender. So, when I want to ask them, when did gender become a criteria for income? They said income. For somebody to have income, the gender, the income, blah, blah, blah. They said all these things that the gender, but I wrote, the gender become a criteria for income. They said something about income being based on gender, but I told them, when you go, please revisit your government textbook. How does income be based on gender? Ghana's tax system under the Income Tax Act has nothing to do with gender. Rather, it is based on what one earns. So why are you trying to deceive my lovely audience by feeding them with these lies? Teacher, they also said that my supporting speaker made a quote, but that quote, they are asking whether it was said by a tax analyst. And I want to put it to them and ask them, the sources they provided their information from, were it also published by economists or some media houses? So if our quote was not said by a tax analyst, then your sources were not also provided by economists. So please check that before rebuttal. They also said that this empowering women does not promote equality, or it has nothing to do with equality. But we want to make it clear to them that adjusting the law to the level of the playing field for everybody to be equal, that is not true. True equality means empowering people the right way through fairness and policies that addresses economic problems, not by taxing these our women less. Share the house with this compelling fact. I hope our submission have been clearly heard by the Madam Chairperson, panel of jury, and the whole house. We therefore call upon the whole house to rise with us as we kick against the motion, quote and unquote. Women should pay less income tax than men. The chair.
You know what? Sitting in my small corner and watching these young ones debate on this motion that women should pay less tax than men, I've been wowed. Listen, I'm a gunman. When a gunman says, Sayo, it means that there's a fight going on somewhere. And the fight, as you know it, was between the Oseis. That is to say, Osei Tutu Senior High School and Osei Adutwum Senior High School. A round of applause for these young, amazing, brilliant minds. What I will say to you is thank you. Thank you very much, Isaac Kweku Yabua, Frederick Opong for OT, and of course, Jaslyn Ajubi Owusu and Aban Say Nana Kwame. One more time, a round of applause for them. And if you are really happy, why don't we do this? If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Oh, if you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Osas! 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 Abrimpong! 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 So by that, we come to the end of Contest 5 for the 2025 edition of the Love FM High School Debate. Coming up next is Contest 6. And that will be between Jaji Pramso Senior High School. They call themselves the Ahima Achame, and of course, Prepper College Amanfo. But for now, Contest 5 is over. We'll be right back with Contest 6. Please don't go away. Stay with us.
On matters of national interest.